Hey guys, so today's video is going to be a 3 looks, 1 palette using the new Urban Decay Naked Reloaded palette. If you're new to this channel, my name's Olena and I do makeup videos and lifestyle videos on this channel, so let's go ahead and jump in. I was really excited about this palette because honestly I love all the Naked palettes, and if you're interested you can go ahead and check out all the other ones I did reviews on and videos, but this is the old original Naked palette, the first one they came out with, and this is a newer version. The first one you saw was the one I've been using for years, but basically they wanted to discontinue this, and they already have, and now you have the Naked Reloaded as a replacement. Do I feel like it's a good replacement? It's not necessarily the same shades, but it's kind of similar to it. It's just a new take. There's peachy shades in it, there's warm tones in it. It's kind of interesting and I was really excited to play with it, but the packaging is definitely an upgrade. I can see this one lasting a lot better, and it definitely has a better mirror. So let's start with look number 1. This one I decided to make sure I used all the shades possible in all these looks, and the first color I decided to take was Retro. I really like the mattes in here with like the color, but I don't like the way that they blend. They actually do have a little bit of like a dryish feel to them. I've used all the other Naked palettes and they haven't really had that issue, and when I used Bucked, which is this beautiful warm toned color, it actually changed color in the crease and ended up causing some problems for me blending. You can see it's starting to deepen up and turn into a darker color in the crease area versus by the lash line, so I really tried to blend that out and I was having a little bit of difficulty. I did use a primer initially for the eyes, and I did try doing these looks with powder on top of the primer and without, but it's still this. I already had an eyeshadow color on there. It shouldn't have acted that way, so I am not sure whether or not these colors are more pigmented and they need to be used a little bit more sparingly. I'm not sure, but I decided to use Barely Baked all over the center of the eye just to add a little bit of gold. So I feel like these shadows just need a little bit more patience to be worked with. I think that if you used a lighter hand and maybe no eyeshadow primer and instead just a light foundation with a dusting of powder, it probably could work. I just think that this is a little bit more complicated than the original Naked palettes for you guys in case you're looking to purchase this. Now the second look I actually really liked. It turned out pretty, even though I did again have trouble blending. I started off with a light color and then went in with Boundaries, which this is such a great transition shade, especially for my skin tone, but again I was having a little bit of an issue blending. It just took a lot more patience. I mean, the story's the same throughout the palette, and then again I went in with Bucked, and again this one had a little bit of issue, but this time it didn't really change color as much as I was kind of expecting it to. It did look a little bit weird mixed with the other shade, but I kind of made do. And I used Endgame lightly, very lightly in the center of the crease and just building it up on the inner and outer corner just to create a halo eye. The thing is, again, this one feels a little bit dry. I wish it had maybe a little bit more warmth to it. It just looks kind of odd placed with the other shades, and it's just starting to look a little muddy, so I decided to cover it up by using Burn on the outer half and then using Reputation, which is such a gorgeous shade, on the inner corner. And then I decided just kind of looked like a bland eye. I didn't really like it, and I used Angel Fire on the center of the eye and blended that in. Now Angel Fire is a beautiful color, but it's a little bit gritty, so I feel like you might need a wet base to use it on. From using these shadows, I realized that they are all very sensitive to the texture of your lid. It kind of reminds me of the Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette. Basically, you have to use a really light hand, a fluffy brush, and just a lot of patience. Don't take a lot of product, blend them nicely, and also be careful what kind of oils or primers you use. Sometimes, like this look specifically, I used Distilled to blend into the crease. It was a shimmery brown, and then I used Dreamweaver, which is kind of a shimmery blackish gray shade, and applied that onto the lid. They didn't turn out good, again, first because it didn't have a primer on it. I did the other eye with primer and I realized it did grip a lot better, but again had trouble blending in. So this palette is probably not for beginners. It takes a lot of work, Not all the shades are like this, like Bribe and Barely Baked are fine, but the other ones, especially the darker ones, use a little bit of work. So just beware, and if you are having trouble using this palette, just go ahead and, use a lighter hand. Be careful what kind of primers you use and what kind of textures you have on your lid, and hopefully you can get it to work. But let me know what you guys think about this palette. I mean, I personally am not super wowed by it. I'm probably just going to leave it on my shelf, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.